Optimism can be hard to find. You're feeling really alone, maybe trying something new or getting news that you weren't expecting. But it's a mindset that can really help us navigate the choppiest of waters. And this week, we'll meet 3 folks who are using optimism to navigate their own uncharted territory. So why don't you hop in and travel with me? My name is JB Salceda, and this is Texas Country Reporter.
I love the sea. I love everything about the water. I love just climbing around on ships and looking at everything, right? I was always landlocked all my life, and so now I have this opportunity to be a part of this old tradition.
For centuries, man has made a life roaming the seas. Sailors, fishermen, and merchants have hauled nets, trimmed the sails, and called the endless ocean home. For many of these weary mariners, the Galveston Seafarers Center offers a much-needed respite from the rolling waves.
You can see the vessels, but you don't stop to think about the humans that are on those vessels. The seafarers have a slogan, no shipping, no shopping. And if they couldn't ship it, you couldn't shop. I would hope that people, no matter where they are, would realize that they are affected by this, even if they never see the Port of Galveston, even if they never had the pleasure of coming into the Galveston Seafarers Center. So it does affect them. And as a nonprofit Seafarers Center, it's really important for us to let people know that we're here and what we do, because we do make a difference in people's lives all the time.
Deacon Jeff Willard serves as port chaplain at the Galveston Seafarers Center, where he and other volunteers have made this the ultimate home away from home for the men and women who work at sea. From cruise ship staff to cargo ship crews, once an ocean-going vessel makes port, this is the place to be.
What are the services that the Seafarers Center provides to the sailors?
Perhaps one of the biggest things we do is we are their post office. You think about it, you don't have a mailing address when you're at sea. And so anything you want to order from Amazon or wherever, if your family or friends want to send you a letter, it all comes here. Makes it easy for them. The free internet, believe me, it's very important. When I go on a cruise ship, internet is expensive. If I worked on a cruise ship, I would have to pay the same price. So it's very valuable for them to come here and connect. We have the bicycles. They ride all over the island. It's amazing. Some of them learn to ride a bicycle while they're here. They just get to hang out and feel at home here, and it's a wonderful thing for them. It's a wonderful thing for us. When this place is really full of crew members and they're all in here singing and playing the instruments we have, it's a beautiful sight.
Fully stocked bookshelves and gaming stations all contribute to the charm and camaraderie found here. But the center's reach is much wider than just these 4 walls. When Jeff's not here, or busing people to and from the grocery store, he's at the shipyard, where he continues the mission to ease sea-weary souls.
They used to say that going to work on a cargo vessel was like going to prison with a chance you'll drown. It's very deadly. It's very dangerous work that they do. And they're miles from anybody, right? It's a tough life out there. And so I come on and I act silly with them, I sing karaoke with them, I eat a meal with them, and it brings them some kind of peace. And so it makes a difference in their daily life, and so it really is a great feeling.
As a religious representative, how do you navigate all of the different religions coming into here from all over the world.
So I approach it like this. If you believe that this little billfold here is God, I don't believe that. But I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. I'm going to help you for your peace to get as close to this billfold as possible while you're here. Okay? Then you leave here with some peace in your heart, and that's okay.
Life on the sea has a way of being tranquil and tender. It can sometimes be tough and tumultuous. But even among the vast, uncertain ocean, there's a safe harbor that can be found in Galveston, where Deacon Jeff Willard is showing sailors that no matter where they roam, the Galveston Seafarer Center will always be home.
This morning, there were two gentlemen in here from Kenya who are getting ready to leave their 8-month contract. This is their last week here. And I asked them, I said, tell me about, what would you tell people about Galveston Seafarer Center? And they said, it's home. And I said, wait a minute, you tell me that it feels like it's home here? No, it is home. Now that's what I want to hear.
Why do you do this work?
I'm a deacon in the Catholic Church, and deacons traditionally, from St. Stephen on down to me, we were called to serve the widows and the orphans, primarily those who have little. It's just that idea of doing what our love requires. I love it here because I don't have to preach the gospel, I just have to be the gospel.
Tucked away in a small building behind a taqueria on Austin's east side, you'll find Comadre Panadería. Comadre is a word that holds special meaning for baker Mariela Camacho.
It's what my mom called all of my tias growing up. So it was it was always about gossip. Like, she'd be on the phone, she'd be like, Comadre, Comadre. Like, you'll never guess what I heard, you'll never guess what I found out. So that was just always so heartwarming to know that my mom had people that she could do that with and feel safe and have a good time. So for me, it just means homegirl or friend.
Walking into Comadre Panadería, I was taken back to my childhood when I'd look forward to the weekend trip to grab pan dulce or Mexican sweetbread with my dad. Mariela had a similar affection for sweet treats growing up.
I knew I was addicted to sugar from as young as I can remember. And all of my family worked in restaurants. I didn't really know what to do with my life. I didn't feel like I could go to college. I didn't have the support for that. So I just worked in kitchens and I gravitated towards baked goods.
Following in the food industry footsteps of her immigrant parents, Mariela's first job was at a bakery in San Antonio. And years later, she'd find herself in Seattle.
During the day, I would run someone else's bakery. At night, I would bake for my wholesale accounts. I started off as a wholesale bakery. Then I came to Texas and we were just doing pre-orders and just delivering all over the place.
Eventually, demand for Mariela's imaginative take on pastry increased enough to make a brick and mortar spot possible.
When you try to describe your bakery to people, how do you describe it?
I call it I say, we're just a punk rock bakery ran by a Mexican-American kid that tries to make healthy pan dulce.
What informed the flavors and the types of approaches that you took?
I don't want to use food dye. I want to use ingredients that are sourced from as close to me as possible. So that just kind of dictates what I use and I don't use. I feel we take the classics, people can identify these items or are familiar with these items, but we usually just change the flavor. So the peen cake, it's our most popular item. Usually in the panaderias you find it as a white cake or yellow cake, pretty bland, and then it's just got pink icing. We use corn flour and fresh corn in it, and then the buttercream, we use prickly pear to get it pink. So that's a take on the classic, but it's still kind of weird, you know what I mean?
It's not just innovative flavors at Comadre. Mariela also feels a deep commitment to ensuring her staff always feels supported.
Well, I grew up very angry and very poor, so that has always guided me to want to make sure that the base of this business always has to be like run ethically. We have to like advocate for our employees. We have to make sure that we are sourcing ingredients that we feel good about and give our money to people that participate in like making change. I think because I grew up so poor and watching my parents just be treated not well because they were like immigrants or didn't have like access to education, that definitely gave me an outlook on like how I will run my business and how I am as a person, really.
What do you aspire for the bakery? Do you want it to grow to multiple locations, be bigger here, or just are you happy with where it's at?
I want to include some inside seating. I want it to be a little bit more of like a community hub for sure, where people can like really roll through and hang out for a little bit longer. I don't need to be super big. I don't need that. I just need to have a decent life. I need to be able to take care of my parents, make sure the crew's got a good life, and I'm good.
What are your parents saying?
My parents are very proud of me.
Yeah?
Yeah. They were like, oh, you should like go to college, marry a doctor, you know. But I definitely did not do any of that. I think they were a little scared for me for a while, but they're super proud of me.
All right. You know, I fish with people who've caught 1,000 redfish, and it's still really exciting just to see it happen. You know, see somebody make the cast and start stripping and get the fly moving and see the fish react.
Keep gripping. We ate it. Nice.
I'm like a little ways back, and I'm just watching the whole thing. I'm watching you light up. I'm watching the fish light up. I'm watching the cast, and it's a totally different vibe. And so I never get sick of that.
Today I caught my first redfish on a fly rod, and it was an incredible feeling. Moments like these are often shared with a family member or close friend who lends a helping hand or some angling advice, perhaps even supporting in the retelling of the tale, describing the fish as having been a little bit bigger and making the fight to land it a lot more fierce. Alvin Dedeaux has made it his goal to share this infectious joy with anglers new and seasoned across the Lone Star State.
When we were fishing, I kind of felt like, I bet it'd be way more fun for him to be fishing, you know, and he probably hates having to be up there just pushing me around or pushing other people around. But no, you enjoy the guiding part.
It's fun. You know, the thing, and this is the thing that's really cool about it, especially like today, because you caught your first one, and that's like, that'll never happen to me again. I'll never have the excitement of that first one, but I feel it like when you know, like when it all comes together for somebody else, I'm getting goosebumps.
Despite his easygoing demeanor, Alvin Dedeaux has perhaps reeled in more Texans to the world of fly fishing than most. He spends most days out on his boat, and a bit of it online. As a fly fishing guide, he's built quite the following on social media and YouTube, where his videos have hauled millions of views. His goal is to demystify a style of fishing many people might be intimidated by.
I encourage anybody to try it. It's not for everybody. You know, like one of the comparisons a lot of people like to use is fly fishing is to conventional tackle fishing what bow hunting is to hunting with the rifle. You know, it's definitely definitely harder, a little bit more practice, a little bit more kind of skill oriented. You're stacking the odds in the fish's favor. Once you cast with the fly rod, you're just hand lining. You're like holding on to one side of the string and hopefully the fish is going to grab the other side, especially what we're doing here. We're like actually looking for a fish and putting the fly in front of that specific fish and hoping that he eats it, you know. So there's that aspect of it. They're kind of like the hand-to-hand combat.
Alvin was in the early wave of fly fishing guides in Texas. When he began, a lot of Texans left the state to fish freshwater trout up north, if they fly fished at all. But now, he's helping spread the sport from the Guadalupe to the Colorado and the Gulf Coast. He's had the good fortune to catch countless fish, but his greatest luck of all might have been meeting his wife, Lene.
She was pretty awesome. I mean, she really had a big effect on a lot of people, and she became a guide because there were no other women around here guiding. And she was like, that's the only reason I'm doing it, just because I want other women to be able to see me and realize like, oh, they can do it. I knew it was a match made in heaven because the first time we went fishing together, we were in Colorado. It was a small stream, and I'd fish with my buddies a lot. And it was small enough to where you had to like one person fish at a time. You fish, then the next person would fish the next hole, you know, little mountain stream. And we'd take turns fishing and watching each other. And then we got finished at the end of the day, and she's like, that was romantic. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, okay, done, sign me up.
Alvin and Lene owned and operated all water guides together for many years, spreading the joy of Texas fly fishing to people from all walks of life. But suddenly, last spring, Lene wasn't quite feeling herself.
She just kind of started feeling kind of funky, like in April, and they were trying to figure out what it was, you know, like, it's not this, it's not that. Blood tests are always perfect, and she got an ultrasound, and they're like, oh, you have cancer, and she died a month later. At least with my wife, we did have a chance to like say goodbye, you know, like, and just kind of like say, oh, you know, like this is great. You know, we're so lucky to have the 16 years that we had. And, you know, too bad it's, you know, her only regret, she said she only had one regret, and that was just not being able to see her kids grow up. You know, we have a 11 and a 15-year-old daughter and a 26-year-old daughter. So, yeah, that was her only regret. So, I mean, I hope I'm so lucky, you know.
How are you doing?
You know, I have my good days, I have my bad days. I'm super lucky. I got like
You're so
many
much more
people.
upbeat than I would expect.
If this would have happened 5 or 6 years ago, I would not have been as upbeat. But we went through a lot of growth, you know, emotionally, spiritually, and you know, it's a part of life. And you know, I have to carry on. I have 2 young daughters I need to raise and, you know, support the whole optimism thing. I mean, that goes a long way in life, but also in fishing. I mean, really, I mean, I've been training myself for 50 years to like always think the next cast is going to be the one, or you're going to catch the fish of a lifetime. In a way, train myself to, you know, see the best, you know, just be positive.
What do you hope her legacy is?
That her kids know that what they're capable of. She was an artist, scientist, you know, teacher, fishing guide, business owner, multiple entrepreneur, you know, like she just did all kinds of stuff. And as long as they know what their mom did and what she represented and recognize that they have that in themselves, that's probably number one. One of the lessons that I'm learning through this is just, there's a lot of people out there that want to help, and it was, for me, I've always been like the, you know, lone wolf, do-it-yourself kind of guy, and it's really hard for me to ask for help, and almost harder for me to accept the help that people offer, you know. But I've been much more open. I let people help me, you know, and I realize that because I've always tried to help people, and I know that it makes you feel good to help other people. And I'm like, okay, well, yeah, if you want to help me, I know that's going to make you feel good, and it helps me. So I'll just try to be a lot more open to, you know, everything that's coming my way, you know, whether it's, you know, somebody offering to take me fishing or what, you know, because usually I'll be like, no, let me take you fishing, you know. But now I'm
Reverse
like,
card them.
yeah, but now I'm like going, yeah, come on, yeah, I'll get on the front of the boat, you know, and it feels good to be up there and let somebody else take care of me for a while, even if it's just a couple hours of fishing, you know.
Yeah, you helped me. I mean, I don't think I would have seen the fish that I ended up catching.
Yeah, it's a team effort. And that's another thing about that parallel to life. You know, it is a team effort. You know, it's I could not go out there by myself and do that, you know. But when you have 3 people in the boat, like one person up here, one person casting, and maybe the third guy's looking the other direction that the guide's not looking, it's just so much more effective. And I'm realizing that life's the same way, you know. You just got to let people help you, you know.
I've got to brag a little bit and say that I'm 3 for 3 in catching a fish. We've been filming fishing stories. So if things don't work out for me as the host of TCR, I guess I've got a little bit of a backup plan as a professional angler. But I look forward to next week, and I hope you'll hop in and travel with me as we continue on this journey on the back roads of Texas. My name is JB Salceda, and this is Texas, the Country Reporter.